What's going on, everybody? Not here, and I want to talk about a couple market observations right now, and I think they're really, really important. Yeah, first of all, I want to talk about Magic. Then we'll talk about Pokemon. Put this up so people don't click off the video. But real quick, so with Aetherdrift, we've had two perceived weak sets in a row. So we've had Innistrad Remastered, which is not moving, not doing anything. And then we have Aetherdrift. So Aetherdrift started on fire. The collector boxes specifically were 280, 285. And they dropped all the way down to a low of, I believe, somewhere around 200. Yeah. But what's interesting is people tend to like the set. They tend to enjoy the cards outside of, a bunch of angry YouTubers who don't like it. Neither here nor there. But if we look at the sell through, 13, 8, 26, 27, 15, 20. I mean, we're still averaging now, it's 31 boxes a day. This is obviously released here, I believe. But there's still a healthy sell through here. And what I want to point to is the most important number in all this is right here, current quantity available. So this number was in the high 500s, as high as 600 for a while. And it has proceeded to come down rather quickly. I think it was 570 before the weekend started. Now we're 497. And what we see here is a lot of people are dumping cards. They're dumping sets because they're going to have to fund Tarkir in a little bit. Journey Together's coming. Probably have to pay the end of this week, early next week. So there's dollars or there's a liquidity need coming in the market. But if we look at this, we have a couple big stores who are dumping product. Again, this is just TCG Player, and then you see 215, and all of a sudden you're back at 220, and there aren't too many boxes till you're at 230. And I've watched this on, specifically on Duskborn, which was another set that came out, and it was lukewarm. Didn't start as high as this, but it just kind of treaded water for 3 or 4 months, and then all of a sudden it was at $300 a box. Now, I'm guessing the print run of this is a little bit lower, specifically because they didn't want to recreate Karlov Manor. But the supply of this is drying up, and there's still healthy demand. So the next thing we want to check is we want to go to eBay. And this is only buy it nows. So we have one box at 203. I would imagine it's going to sell quickly. We have Kid Icarus here. I believe there's 7 boxes, 8 boxes. If you buy them all at a discount, actually pretty darn good price. Then you go right to 220 and 220, and these are all singles. 222, 222. Then you're at handful of boxes. You're at 230. So long story short, there aren't a lot of these boxes left. So I think I mentioned this in our Discord. I think these collector boxes are going to be about $300 by the time by the end of April. It's going to happen. It's happened in all of these sets, and it's probably not a great set, but it's also not a dumpster fire. And the fact that the short print and the fact that there are some banger cards that people are buying that they want, I wouldn't sleep on this set. And quite honestly, I would probably be a buyer of it right now if I wasn't sitting on a bunch of it. Because quite honestly, I pulled it off the market because I know where it's going. It's going to the same place that all these collector boxes are going. So that being said, this is not going to be perceived as a dumpster fire in a month or two. Also, Tarkir, all bets are off. I think it's going to be banger. People are going to overlook it, but neither here nor there. So, Pokemon. So, everybody and their brother is talking about what could be a perceived pullback in the Pokemon market. You have the fear thumbnails. You have all kinds of other bullshit from people that, quite honestly, they're just guessing, and they're trying to get views. Then you have the reality of the situation. Yes, the boxes are at all-time highs. Journey Together's at 245, which, quite honestly, is too high for release. It is what it is. Stellar Crown, $200. Surging, 260. Paldea, 220. Obsidian, 200. Twilight, 220. Scarlet and Violet Base at 190. Paradox Rift at 180. And then you have Temporal, kind of the redheaded stepchild, at 180. So all of these boxes are materially over MSRP for sets that aren't that old. The problem is the market is not going to top as long as everybody and their brother is scared shitless that the market is going to top. That's not the way this works. So we see this in our LGS, and it's actually gotten pretty crazy in the last 3 weeks where we have a lot of people coming in there. They're looking to sell singles and they're afraid that the market's getting toppy. And, we pay a reasonable amount for the singles, but we turn around and we flip them right away because there's an equal number of people coming in looking to buy cards. What's interesting is, this past week, we just set a record in sales in the store, and it wasn't even a release week. It was literally in the middle of releases of every single important game or game that matters to our store. And it's because there's so much demand and there's so much fear because people are scared to death. They're going to be stuck holding the bag. And nobody's been able to take a step back and say, what am I doing here? The air pocket and the crash in 2022, 2023 was based on printing to COVID demand because there was availability on the printers because, clients pulled back, clients blew up. It is what it is. I mean, the print media industry was kind of died. But then you look at today, there's no such thing. You go back to COVID, all of a sudden the doors unlocked and people are able to go to the restaurants, bars, movies. That none of that is happening today. So even if people stop paying attention and wanting to buy Pokemon, there is such a massive supply and demand imbalance that it's going to take so long for things to slow down. And, it's not going to be 1 reprint, 2 reprints, 500 reprints, because they just can't produce enough supply to satiate the demand. And I think I mentioned in my video yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. So the total number of cards from 2023 to 2024, I think was up 22%. That was worldwide. That wasn't just U.S. English print. So if anybody thinks that the demand for Pokemon right now versus March 10th, whatever it is, of 2024 is only up 22%, you haven't been paying attention. The demand is exponentially higher than what it was back then. And it's not even close. So you went from a world where the demand was artificially depressed for various reasons to a world where, yes, the demand is artificially inflated to some extent, but the supply is pretty much inelastic at this point. Can they print a little bit more? Sure. But I don't see anything out of the ordinary based on what they've done forever, other than, they keep printing Crown Zenith. At least, it's probably done now, but it wouldn't surprise me if they printed it longer. They're going to keep printing 151. I mean, those lines are going to keep churning 24/7 as long as they can, because if they don't, the packs are going to be $30. There's just no way around it because there's so much demand. And then you look at some of these other boxes, Surging Sparks, that box would be $350 if they just didn't dump a ton of booster bundles on the market. It is what it is. And now you have, 3, 6, 9 sets plus all of your mini sets, save Shrouded Fable, which isn't going to get a reprint anytime soon. I mean, now you're printing all of these sets, all of your EX boxes and tins. And I mean, there's so much out there that needs a reprint. They're not going to be able to hit all of them. So the fact that there's so many people that think the sky is falling is exactly the reason why it's not going to happen. And, again, like I said, just to reiterate, we have an all-time high volume of sellers and buyers in the store. And for us, it's like, okay, well, we'll buy your singles at 60% and we'll sell them to you at 100%. And it's recycling, and it's just the way the business works. So, those of you who think the market's going to crash because, the S&P is down 10% and NASDAQ's down 15%, this stuff just happens. It's not going to zero. It never does. And as the kids say, you just buy the dip, and it works every time. So anyway, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll talk soon.